I can guarantee you that picture right there with the cup up over his head will be displayed prominently in his home.
We're skating into a new year in the NHL. I'm here with Steve Simmons. And Steve, you're going to take me through and take our viewers through what can we expect in this new year for NHL fans?
Well, that's the strangest thing about the calendar changing from year to year. The season doesn't change from year to year. The season starts in September and ends in June, and things don't tend to change a lot in January and February. It becomes what happens in April and May and June. And I think what's fascinating about this year is there's a bunching of very good teams at the top of the NHL. The Tampa Bay Lightning, Winnipeg Jets, Nashville, Toronto. They're all teams that could possibly win the Stanley Cup, and this current group of those teams has not won a cup. So it'll be interesting to see which one, the first among equals sort of competition, to see which of that group will come out at the end of June.
So which NHL team do you expect to be the most surprising as we go down this back half?
You know, I've been looking at those Alberta teams and going back and forth. You know, once in a while, I thought Edmonton was awful to start the season, and they've been pretty good since Ken Hitchcock took over as coach. And the Flames at the beginning of the year looked lost and had terrible goaltending, and in the last month, maybe they've been the best team in the NHL. So that old Battle of Alberta, which I lived through in the 1980s, and it was the greatest hockey, frankly, I've ever seen, you know, is coming back to life for the first time ever. And so it's curious to see which of those two teams will be on the upside going into playoffs, because I expect both of them to be in the playoffs.
Okay, some of the people watching this video probably have never even known a Canadian team winning the Stanley Cup. Steve, is this the year that Canada gets the big trophy?
I don't know if they get the big trophy, but it's 1993 since there's been a Canadian team in the Stanley Cup, or won the Stanley Cup. That was the Montreal Canadiens in '93. Nobody's won it since. The Winnipeg Jets, you know, no one talks a lot about this team, but the Winnipeg Jets could be that team this year. They've got a lot of parts in place. They haven't hit the nasty contracts in some of the situations that tends to hurt teams when they get to that point. They have excellent goaltending, good coaching, terrific up front with Patrick Laine and Mark Scheifele and Blake Wheeler and those kind of guys. I suspect that the Winnipeg Jets will represent the West for the Stanley Cup. My history of picking the right team is about 1%, but I'm saying it today that I like Winnipeg, and I think they have a shot. To me, Nashville, Winnipeg is flip a coin in the West.
Okay, and what about the Leafs?
The Leaf team we see today and the Leaf team we're going to see on April 10th may not be the same Leaf team. This is a year of an opportunity for the Maple Leafs because they don't pay Austin Matthews now. They don't pay Mitch Marner now. They have some payroll flexibility right now that they won't have in the years to come. So I suspect management understands this and will go for it at trade deadline to try and pick maybe a defenseman, maybe a forward with a little bit of sandpaper, things that they need right now. They're one of the group of 5 or 6 teams that can win. A lot will depend on what management does and at the trade deadline and how those players then fit in afterwards, because I think they realize this is a really good opportunity that they're not going to have next year, the year after, the year after, because their money's going to be so tight in other years.
Do you have any names you want to throw out?
The St. Louis guys are the ones I think about the most, because St. Louis is a team in difficulty, and they have 2 excellent defensemen in Alex Pietrangelo and Colton Parayko, and either one of those guys to me would make the Leafs, you know, significantly better. You know, what the price to get them is and how that all works, you know, that's for other people to figure out.
Okay, let us know what you think down below and subscribe to our YouTube channel.